Today I will discuss privacy and collaboration systems and the responsibility that organizations have to protect sensitive information when employees use platforms such as Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Slack, or Google Drive. These tools are central to modern business operations. Employees use them to hold meetings, share documents, discuss customers, and make their important decisions. And collaboration systems allow for employees to communicate quickly even when they work in different offices, states, or countries. They can improve productivity, reduce travel expenses, and make information easier to access. But however, the same convenience that makes these systems valuable can also create serious privacy and security risks. When information can be shared instantly, it can also be shared with the wrong person immediately. A private conversation can be recorded, a confidential file can be placed in the wrong folder, or a meeting link could be forwarded outside the organization. Privacy and collaboration systems is therefore not only a technical issue, but it is an ethical and professional responsibility. The first principle that organizations should follow is data minimization. Data minimization means collecting, sharing, and storing only information necessary for legitimate business purposes. Employees sometimes treat collaboration platforms as informal spaces, but instead these communications could be stored for months or years. They could be backed up, searched by administrators or other employees, or accessed during a security investigation. Therefore, employees should be avoiding placing unnecessary personal or confidential information into collaborative systems. A team doesn't need to include a customer's full social security number into a chat message when the last 4 digits would be enough, or an employee's detailed medical information shouldn't be posted into a group channel when a general statement about approved absences could suffice. An ethical rule is simple. Access to information should be based on the need. The second principle is operational control. Organizations should ensure that only authorized people can view that sensitive information. Shared drives become disorganized over time, and employees create folders, copy files into new locations, and eventually organizations may no longer know who has access to what. Access should therefore be reviewed regularly, and permissions should be reviewed on an ongoing basis. When employees change positions or leave organizations, their access should be removed immediately. Multi-factor authentication should also be required. Stolen passwords shouldn't be enough in order to gain access to confidential corporate documentation, whereas a rolling series of codes or text message codes could suffice to result in a greater overall sense of security. A third principle is secure communications. Organizations should assume that sensitive conversations could be intercepted, recorded, copied, or forwarded. And this doesn't mean that employees should avoid digital information, but instead they should choose the correct methodology for communicating based on sensitivity of the information. While a company-wide Slack channel may be appropriate for general announcements, it wouldn't be appropriate for discussing employee investigations or customer financial records, and therefore there should be additional security measures in place in order to ensure that these types of communications are maintained in a secure methodology. Recordings should not be retained indefinitely just because storage is inexpensive, but instead they should be deleted when legitimate business purposes have ended. Participants must be informed of the reasoning behind the recording of their information and should be reviewed on an ongoing basis. The fourth principle is transparency. Employees and customers should have a reasonable basis by which they understand their communications could be logged and used. Organizations should not secretly monitor employee conversations nor collect excess information from customers. Most collaboration systems will allow administrators to search message or review activity logs, and these capabilities can help to reduce fraud, harassment, data theft, or security breaches. But to avoid abuse, organizations should clearly explain their monitoring practices, and employees should understand that company systems are business systems and not be treated with an undue sense of privacy. Monitoring should therefore be limited, authorized, and documented, and this helps to avoid surveillance that undermines clear trust in creating an unhealthy workspace culture. The fifth principle is accountability. Public policies are separate from privacy policies, which are undeniably organized under the concept that you must have a meaningful organization behind this accountability. Employees need practical training to avoid the idea that privacy failures are inherently linked to some grand idea of hacking as opposed to an undermining of basic corporate responsibility. Accountability means that deliberate misuse could have consequences, and that employees who intentionally search for information unrelated to their job, share confidential files, or recording private conversations should face appropriate disciplinary actions. Personal devices should be protected with strong passwords, encryption, automated logging, and updated software. Organizations should be encouraged to use privacy management and mobile device management systems that separate business information from personal data and allow company information to be removed if a device is lost. Ultimately, privacy and collaborative systems depend on balancing accessibility with responsibility. Employees need information to perform their jobs appropriately, and excessive restrictions could make collaboration difficult and encourage unsafe workarounds. However, giving everyone unlimited access creates unacceptable risk. Protecting privacy is not simply the job of information technology departments, but instead it is a shared obligation involving administration, security, managers, employees, vendors, and leadership. When organizations combine strong technical controls with ethical judgment and clear communications, collaborative systems can support productivity without sacrificing trust of employees, customers, and the public.